Earth 1 is an alternate universe, giving a more realistic take on your favorite DC superheroes. Well, we've done Batman Earth 1 Volume 1, we've done Superman Earth 1 Volume 1, we've done Teen Titans Earth 1 Volume 1, and we've done Wonder Woman Earth 1 Volume 1. So we're gonna start doing some Volume 2, starting with Batman Earth 1 Volume 2. Let's pick up where we left off, and if you're curious about the first video, we'll link that down below. In our last video, we watched the rise of Batman through Bruce Wayne's traumatic childhood and his personal quest to rid Gotham of all crime. With the help of Alfred and his support of his companies, Bruce has trained himself to be able to take on Gotham's most vile villains. With the death of Mayor Cobblepot by Alfred's hands, the city now thinks that their new vigilante hero could, in fact, be a cold-blooded killer. It was finally the end of the day for the 9-to-5 working class in Gotham City. It was time to go home. As a group of people get into the elevator to head up to their apartments, they notice the elevator has not stopped on any of the requested floors. The elevator continues to raise all the way up to the penthouse, and then it stops. One of the men tries to pry open the door, and he says that they are going to have to hit the help button. However, a voice on the intercom tells him that there's no need. The man spins back, stating that there's something wrong with the elevator, and the voice tells him he knows. And one of two things is going to happen, so listen carefully. There was a man who lived on the 13th floor of this building, but every morning, he would press the ground floor to go to work. When he got home, he would press the 12th floor, get out, and walk the rest of the way. Why? The man yells at the intercom stating, "Quit goofing around! Open the damn doors and let us out!" And the voice says, "If you guess correctly, the doors will open. Answer incorrectly, and you'll fall 44 floors." Everyone inside begins to panic, and while some try to pry open the doors, the voice says, "Not even a guess?" And one of the women asks, "Was the elevator broken?" And the voice says, "What kind of riddle would that be?" The answer is that he wasn't tall enough to hit the 13th button, and just then an explosion goes off, destroying the elevator cables, and the elevator goes crashing back down to the ground floor. Gotham used to be a place where people kept their mouths shut. The cops looked the other way. The city belongs to the criminals. That was until he showed up. Because rumor has it that if you were to say Batman's name out loud, he would show up. People thought it was something like a horror movie, except the Batman is real. And Bruce punches into a thug, with Alfred radioing in that there are still more on the roof. More men appear, reaching for their guns, and as soon as the triggers are pulled, Batman quickly throws out his cape to hide behind it. The bullets pass through the fabric, and when the time is right, he strikes. One by one, the men fall, but during the scuffle, one of the men is kicked back, tripping over the roof's edge. As he begins to fall, he's yanked back up, and he's knocked out, and Alfred asks, "What are you doing? You could have let him fall. That would have been one less drug pusher in Gotham." And Batman tells him, "No one dies." He runs to try and catch up with the men who ran, and he looks down into the street and he sees them speeding away. He hops down, jumping into his car to chase after them. But as he steps on the gas pedal, he loses control and bounces into a fire hydrant and then into a van. Alfred shouts, asking if he's alright, and he pulls down the mask, stating, "Gonna need a better car." Later at the local bar, Harvey Bullock, the Hollywood detective, sits drinking, still trying to process everything that he's been through with the recent birthday boy killer. He slams his shot glass down and he begins to reach for the bottle when a hand grabs his wrist, and Jim Gordon tells him, "That's enough." Harvey pulls his arm back, telling him, "I'll tell you when I've had enough," and he starts to pour another shot. Before Harvey can drink, Jim pushes his hand down, telling him, "It's time to go home." And Harvey snaps back, telling him, "Not until I take care of this." Jim asks him, "What, the bottle?" And Harvey tells him, "No, him." And he points at the man behind him. Harvey says, "That guy at the pool table is Damon Druce. Druce is one of Cobblepot's enforcers. Broke a lot of bones." And Jim says, "Yeah, I made a deal with Dent. We can't touch him or get involved now." Harvey grinds his teeth, telling him, "Last night, Druce beat up his girlfriend when she tried to leave him. He even hit her kid too. And when she called it in, the captain told him, hands off. No one is going to do anything to help that woman and her kid. The child is only 12, Jim. But this son of a bitch gets a pass? No. No way. It ain't right." Harvey gets up from his stool and he yells to Damon, asking, "You like beating up on women and kids? How about you try that on me?" As he finishes, Damon punches him in the face, telling him, "You're gonna sound pretty funny with a broken nose." Before Damon can hit him again, Jim charges in, punching him back, and soon a full bar fight breaks out. Once that fight is over, Jim tightens the cuffs on the men and tells Harvey, "Next time you're walking away. It's time for you to go home, now." Harvey yells, telling him, "I'm staying right here. When I'm off duty, I'm off duty. What I do with my nights doesn't concern you." Jim asks, "Nights?" And then he grabs Harvey, throwing him outside, and the glaring sun beats down on Harvey. Jim looks at him, telling him, "It's 10 in the goddamn morning. You've been on duty for 3 hours." While Jim starts to help Harvey up, they get a call from dispatch telling them that the captain just called. There are bodies over at Gotham Towers, and they're going to need to get over there. Over at Wayne Manor, there's a ring on the door, and and Alfred opens it, stating, "Blimey, if it isn't the mayor himself." Alfred closes the door and he looks back at Bruce, who's still getting changed from his night out on patrol, and he says, "We've got a visitor." While Bruce gets fully dressed, Alfred lets Jessica Dent in, but before Bruce even has a chance to understand what's going on, she tells him that it's nice to see him again. The two walk inside, and she goes on stating that they haven't seen each other since, what, graduation? And Bruce corrects her, stating, "Actually, it was your father's retirement party." She asks him if he was there, and Bruce says, "Briefly, your brothers saw me out before I could even say hi. Harvey never really did like me, and you together." Bruce then asks, why is it the DA's office is cutting deals with every criminal that comes in? Jessica tells him that the criminals destroying Gotham aren't only on the streets, they're also looking down on the city from above, which is why she's here. And what she's going to tell him could very well get her and her brother killed. They have evidence that Cobblepot's criminal operations have been taken over by a group of 5 city officials. Cobblepot's empire is still active because of them. That is why there are deals being made, and we need to find out who those people are. But there are only 2 people that I can trust right now, and that's my brother and you. Bruce asks, why? We haven't spoken in years. And Jessica tells him, because of our history. You're renowned for your self-removal from the rest of Gotham. You need to come out to the rest of the world. Gotham needs a symbol of hope. Bruce waits for a moment and then he asks, isn't that what the Batman's for? To be a symbol of hope? And Jessica turns away stating, most people are afraid of him. What they need is someone who will inspire the city, not scare them. And I would like you to get out of here, roll up your sleeves, and do what your mother and father did. Help my fight in turning Gotham into the city that your parents wanted it to be. If you really want to honor their memory, please help. Bruce doesn't answer, and when Jessica grabs his hand, he says, no, I can't put myself out there like that. If you need money, I can write a check, whatever the price is. Jessica says that it's not money that's going to save Gotham, it's people. His parents were going to save Gotham, and now someone else has to do it. As Jessica leaves Bruce in the courtyard, Alfred waits on the inside, worried about him. As Bruce comes in, Alfred steps down, telling him, you're a stronger bloke than me. Girl asks for help and you turn her away. Back with Jim, he arrives in the scene of where the elevator crashed, and he notices that only one member of the forensics team is there processing the scene. When Jim asks where everyone else is, the CSI tells him it's because they're waist deep in crap. Literally, they're working in sewers because of that creature that they call Killer Croc. Some homeless guy was trying to find a place to sleep down in the pipes and nearly got his entrails eaten. Real nasty stuff. Just then the CSI gets up stating, I gotta move the van, double parked, I'll be back in a few. As the man leaves, Batman steps out of the shadows and Jim tells him, be careful, you're already stepping out evidence. Batman pulls his boot back from the piece of paper and he says, I thought this was just an accident. And Jim asks, you're not a very good detective, are you? Your job is just beating up people. How's that going to solve anything? Batman asks him, how's Barbara? And Jim tells him, far away from Gotham, studying computer science. And now that I've said it, I'm going to assume you want a favor for helping her. Batman tells him, I have some information. Word is that there are 5 people who have taken over Cobblepot's criminal network. They have yet to be identified, but they work for the city. What I need is someone to help me find out exactly who those people are. Jim bends down, grabbing a black light, telling him, that is one hell of a question. And as the black light turns on, it reveals a giant question mark on one of the elevator doors. Jim tells him, and this was not an accident. Batman then begins to ask, could you look into the 5 officials? And Jim says that he would like to help, but he's gonna need more to go on. There isn't a shortage of corrupt officials in this city. Batman begins to leave through the window and he tells Jim, I'll see what else I can find out, but thanks. A little while later, after returning to the station to report on the question mark, 2 officers see Jim and tell him that the captain wants to see both him and Harvey. As the 2 walk into the captain's office, Harvey then shouts, asking, are these the 2 idiots that you're waiting for? Harvey, still intoxicated, quietly says, crap. The captain says that this is District Attorney Harvey Dent, and Dent walks over to him shouting, these 2 knowingly assaulted an informant this morning. There was a direct order to stay the hell away from Damon Druce. And Bullock leans back telling him, I don't recall that conversation. Dent then yells, and he smells like he wouldn't recall much of it anyway. The captain asks if there's something he would like to share, and after a few moments of silence, Bullock steps forward stating that he does have something to say. But Jim cuts him off telling him that he'll handle this. They were keeping tabs on Druce when a fight broke out over a pool game. They spilled their drinks all over them, but before they could change, they had to hit the towers. The captain says that it sounds like an unfortunate case of an unavoidable circumstance, Mr. District Attorney. Dent leans in telling him, if either of them so much as glance at another one of my informants, I will have their badges. I know a bad cop when I see 1 or 2. But while the 2 detectives handle their business at the PD somewhere else, Bruce is sitting in an elevator with Alfred fixing his tie. Alfred says that he needs to stop fidgeting, and Bruce lets go, straightening his suit, telling him that this isn't a social call. I'm only here for more information on these officials. Then we can go to Detective Gordon. Alfred cuts cuts him off, telling him enough with him. I wouldn't trust any cop in Gotham. Keep this up and one day, they'll come after you too. And when that happens, just like now, I'm not going down without a fight, so be careful getting Jessica too involved. The elevator door dings and Bruce heads inside to Jessica's office and immediately tells her that he has some questions for her. Does she have any more leads pointing towards who these 5 people are? Because if he's going to be putting the Wayne Enterprises name out there, he needs to know that his men are not involved. She says that there is no one at Wayne Enterprises, and Bruce says, how can she be so sure? At that moment, she calls into the next room, telling Harvey Dent to come in. Dent steps through the door and the 2 men greet each other, and Bruce remembers back a long time ago when he told him to stay away from Jessica. Dent tells him that Jessica and himself are outing everything on the line talking to him. She trusts him, but that means that he's going to have to as well, so look at this. He holds out a tablet showing a map, and Bruce asks, what is this? Harvey explains that the reason that he has so many criminals talking is that he's been connecting the dots. Every time that he makes a deal, the web fills out, showing 5 groups around the city. The police station, the housing commission, the public works, the city council, and the state court. People they see every day. This is bad. Just then, the secretary runs into the office stating that there's been an explosion at the Museum of Art. Everyone in the city rushes to the museum, and as Jim looks up at the burning building, he sees a flaming question mark. He runs over to the captain stating that he knows who did this. That question mark, it was the one at the towers. There was a destroyed short-range radio that the killer was using. The captain says that he can explain this later. Right now, go take a team and fan out. Jessica looks around asking, where did Bruce go? And Alfred tells her that Bruce said he had to leave. Harvey looks back at Jessica and says, I know you want to believe in Bruce, but you can't count on him. He runs to the first sign of trouble. Alfred radios to Bruce asking where he's at, and Bruce tells him, up on the rooftop, suited up. Jim was right, the killer is close by. He begins to scan the rooftops looking for something, and then he spots him. The man looks towards Batman and he begins to run. So Batman radios and he's going after him. He jumps onto the roof where the man is running and he throws a batarang, slightly missing and hitting the door frame. The man then makes his way to the stairs, but as Batman jumps down to the stairway, he sees a small radio. He grabs it and begins to inspect it, and then through the shadows of the window, he sees something looming over him, and then he's hit with a shovel. He's knocked out the window and down onto the lower balcony, where he passes out from the fall. There you have it, the first half of Batman Earth 1 Volume 2. Now, I am sorry that we couldn't turn this into one big video, but it's long, like really long. If you like the Earth 1 universe, don't forget to check out the playlist down below. It's all of our Earth 1 books. And right now, as of the making of this video, Green Lantern Earth 1 has just come out. And you know, I'm slightly excited about Green Lantern books. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you want to get more books, if you enjoyed what we do. And I'll see you next time right here at Comicstorian.